So I did two videos in follow-up to the rant video I read off of, in that video, basically the rant that VM did back in 2017 about the romance, in couples and everything, and basically how he feels at the end you could have taken out the access and focused on certain couples would have made it easier. Then, yesterday, I did a video like this, audio video, and I basically talked about how, you could have made it easier for the Fiona-Tails ship to occur. And I know some people might feel like, that's kind of wrong because of the age difference and all that, but I kind of give it a good explanation, I think, to how I think it could have been handled. Like, basically because of the fact that one of the things, people look at love as, fictional or real life is age has no significance, if you truly care about each other. So I talked about that. And then today I did another one where I talked about, on camera that is, I talked about Bunny and Antoine. And now I'm back to doing an audio video where I talk about the one, the only ship that a lot of fans truly support in the Sonic franchise overall, and that is Sonic and Sally. And this one, my friends, is one of those ships that, the fan base is either totally for or you got some that are against. And in this case, this moment in time is one of those kind of, moments that you have to really, really look at. If you will. Now, keep in mind that the thing about the ship here is this situation, just like with Bunny and Antoine and Tails and Fiona before this, all takes place within the same time frame. You see, it takes place when Bunny, like a lot of people, thinks Antoine has gone completely sour but doesn't know the truth. This is when, Tails' infatuation for Fiona is going up to a whole new high once again, and he's upset with Sonic and all that, and you get the idea. Well, here with Sonic and Sally, it's a little bit more interesting, if you will. You see, a lot of people look at the infamous moment in 134 called the slap as being what cost Carl Bowlers his job. Now, depending on whether you believe him or Jonathan Gray or whoever, the fact of the matter is that slap had basically been, what's the word I'm looking for? Had basically been drilled into people's memories, into fans' memories and minds, ever since it happened. Even though things have turned out all right afterwards, that moment basically was etched into the mind. That's the word I was looking for. It was etched into the mind because it's a moment that they'll never forget. I mean, by looking at the cover of 134, you knew maybe something was going to happen, but you didn't expect it to happen to that umpteenth degree. Now, here's the thing though. How could it have been simplified? How could you have avoided such a mess? Well, it's real simple. Real simple, okay? So, Sonic comes back from space, all right? He approaches Sally. Sally's at his memorial. They kiss. She has tears in her eyes, happy to see him. She basically denies that she knew he was going to come back. Well, I wouldn't say denies. I would say she basically denies, lies about the fact that she knew he was going to come back. Because, when I say deny, she's basically denying the fact that she knew he was dead. And she's lying about the fact that she knew he was going to come back. Take that as you will. Anyway, the way this would have been handled better is basically you have Sonic. Okay, I know they were going through the triple threat situation at that time. Eggman attacking all three different areas to try to conquer and divide. I get that. But what you could have done, even if you wanted to, still go through with the breakup, you didn't have to go the slap route. What you could have done is you could have had them get angry, that's true. Let their emotions get the best of them. That's true. And then what you do is you have Sonic and her basically walk off, if you will, walk away from each other, and kind of like, keep the audience in captivity. Like, okay, what's happening here? What's going on, right? So what you do after that is, instead of having Sally be a little, edgy around him, a little like still bitter, a little, if you will, kind of tensionable between them, what you do is you give us moments in between where you start seeing her start to, soften a little bit, kind of let that bitterness go. And what you do then afterwards is you get to a certain moment where you kind of do like panel, side by side, panel, and you have Sally talking with Rosemary. You have Sally talking with Rosemary, and then, well, not just Rosemary. Well, you have Sally talking with Rosemary, but then you also have her talking to Bernadette Hedgehog, Sonic's mom. And then on the flip side, you have Sonic talking with his Uncle Chuck and talking with basically Alicia Acorn, Sally's mom. And it's here that, both realize they made, a huge mistake, getting angry with each other. Sally on one panel, because like I said, you do it side by side, realizes that, Sonic's right. He's probably the only one that could really give Eggman a run for her money, and she shouldn't have let her anger get the best of her. And then on the other side, you have Alicia and Uncle Chuck reveal to Sonic that Sally had been going to therapy, for the past year or so, because she thought he was dead and she needed help trying to accept that, not realizing that, like a lot of them, that he was alive. So you have that side by side, situation. And then as the issues follow, you kind of start having them, hang out a little bit more. You start kind of building the friendship a little bit. You have the moments in there, like when Sally swings down on a rope and saves Sonic, and she says, and she asks him, "Oh, I hope you don't mind being rescued by a girl." And Sonic's like, "Not at all." And then the stop. Bubble it's great to see the old Sal back, or great to have the old Sal back on the battlefield, because that's what he's used to. You have that moment still if you want to, and I think, obviously you should, to help build, the friendship again. And then even when you get to the Ian Flynn run, as you would put it, as you get to the Ian Flynn run, you start, again, like Ian was doing, building more patches in the friendship. You start building more patches in the friendship. And you even start doing this by having Sally, after the annulment, and you could do this before the Fiona deal. Or even you don't have to have Fiona in there. You can actually end the issue with Sonic and Sally talking. No, nothing romantic or anything. They're just talking, walking around like regular friends. You don't have to put the holding hands thing in there either. You could just keep them as individual friends and all that. But you could have Sally in Fiona's place, and you could have Sally thank him for revealing the truth. But to coincide with what I said in the more recent one about Bunny and Antoine, you could have Sonic be like, "Well, I'm not the one you should be thanking. You should also be thanking Bunny, because she pretty much suspected something was up." So you could do that, and that makes it a lot easier, a lot less confusing. And even when Ian Flynn comes on board, you could have the friendship being built up more and more and more, patched up more and more and more. You have your moments here and there. And finally, as you're getting towards, let's say, Antoine and Bunny's wedding, you have both of them in thought bubble mode, being the best man and the maid of honor, as they're walking down the aisle with each other to, support of Antoine and Bunny. You have them both in thought process thinking, this should have been us. Like, this should have been our moment, but we blew it. And they kind of both take fault with that. they both take fault with it, and you do have them be complimentary. Excuse me. Sorry, like I said, you have them be complimentary to each other, like Sonic was to Sally when he came over to Rosemary's place to check up on things, and then accidentally, or purposely, got stuck with Amy. But anyway, you have them as they're walking down the aisle. You have, you have Sonic compliment how beautiful she looks, and she compliments how Sonic looks handsome and everything. So you do that. That works. That's another step. You could still do your Eggman 175th angle if you want to do your angle arc, if you will. You can still do that. Go with that. Still do the Moebius deal, but without Fiona, because Fiona would be still a good girl. And like I said, to coincide with that video, she would be with Tails, and the relationship would still be like on a slow start to where, they're getting there, but it takes time and everything, as they get to that moment. So you build all that, you get through all that, you go and do your Iron Dominion arc, if you will. Not as long. Well, okay, you want to do it, the same length, that's fine. But it's during the Iron Dominion arc where if you want to do Monkey Con Sally, as originally planned, you have Sally do these thought process, but you have Sally get these thought bubbles, realizing that, as much as she likes being around Monkey Con, there's a lot of things that remind her of Sonic, and that she's realizing maybe she still has feelings for Sonic after all. And then you do the same with Sonic. You have him do these thought bubbles and everything as he's seeing how more closer and closer Sal and Monkey Con are getting, of how much he still cares for Sally, he still loves her. So you could do all that still. You could still go the direction you want to do, but add in those little tidbits here and there. And then you build and build afterwards, with the other stories that follow. You start getting more of the hints and the moments that we already saw thrown in there. You keep those. And then we get to 222 and basically the take the break, the world could wait kind of storyline that it's called. You have them basically going on their date. You have them go through the same situations we've seen before. And then you have them sit down and you have them talk in the park, in the Chow Park, if you will, the Chow Garden. You have them talk, go over everything like they did. And even basically acknowledge that, they didn't, that none of this had to happen, that they still could have been, like they are now and are going to be again, or at least attempt to be again, that they could have kept it this way the whole time had they both understood that sometimes you need to put a relationship on hold. And I think that would have been the best way to end it. Like, you make them, once again, a couple, but you both have them agree that, from now on, when things need to be taken care of, focused on, they have to put the relationship on hold. Like, they'll still be an item, but the relationship, the love, has to be put on hold to focus on what's best for the kingdom. So, yeah, you keep mostly a lot of things the same, but there are, like I say, certain changes here and there that, as I said, it could be done to make it a lot more easier and less dramatic and bitter and confusing as far as the story is concerned. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel it could have been done to make things a lot, like I said, easier and less bitter and confusing. But what do you guys think? Do you think I have a point? What things would you add in there and maybe take out? More preferably a slap, of course. But what do you think about what I had to say? Do you think that makes it less confusing, less dramatic and bitter? What are your thoughts? Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, check out the Teespring store. But again, let me know what you feel, how you feel about it, and I will talk to y'all later.